Jeff Gold, my Twitter followers are letting me know that they are on pins and needles today waiting for this verdict. This is a long time coming. This story broke in 2007 for Kathleen Savio's family. This all began in 2004. Do you believe that today is the day and time is running out on Drew Peterson?
Look, of course, we all do, because yesterday the first question led everyone to believe that they're interested in the state's evidence. You may recall from last week, you asked me to give a short closing. I did that. I said 4 pieces of hearsay. They asked for 2 of those pieces of hearsay, which were state's evidence and the best state's evidence. And when they asked for that, we all went, hey, a conviction is coming. But as the day wore on and now the second day begins, you just don't know. If it goes past today, I don't think we're going to say conviction quite as quick. But still today, it's reasonable for a jury who has got a man's life in their hands to take at least 2 days to think about it. So we're still thinking that evidence controls and that it's likely for a conviction if that's what's on their mind.
Beth Karras, we have watched this defense team throughout with the sunglasses. So, or is he still with us, or did he run to get one of those sandwiches? Oh, he's there. I thought you might run to get a sandwich.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea.
How would you, and how would you prepare, because you've been on both sides of this. Number one, how would you prepare Kathleen Savio's family for this moment? And then how would you prepare Drew Peterson for this moment?
Well, I'd like to just defer the question for a second, because I have a bit of news for you that I have confirmed and you may want to know. Earlier it was mentioned about those bruises and the pictures of the bruises, which were part of question number 4 yesterday. The jurors asked for the pictures of the bathtub and the bruises and all those things. It's my understanding now, and I've confirmed it from 2 sources, that 3 or more of those pictures never went to the jury, that there was some kind of a mix-up. It's unclear what the mix-up was, whether it was a defense, the state, or the judge, but they didn't go. And this morning they had an off-the-record conference as to whether or not those pictures would go to the jury. And as of right now, those extra pictures, which included bruises, didn't go to the jury. So it's some pictures, I'm not exactly sure which pictures, but they are of bruises that didn't go to the jury. So it's a big question. It's not been put on the record yet, but that jury thinks it has all the exhibits that it asked for, and they don't.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Jeff Gold, Pastor Shorey, though, is not a traditional pastor in the sense that we think of a pastor. And the defense really took a few shots at him. Do you think they made any headway with that?
Christy, no, I do not. They had Joe Lopez cross-examine him. We know he likes to style himself a mob lawyer. He attacked the Reverend Shurey, or the Minister Shurey. He didn't attack really what Stacey was saying directly. He really attacked the minister. It was a wrong technique for this kind of a witness. I think on the readback, it was even better than it was originally. It stood up with the cross-examination falling flat. What we had on that readback yesterday was Stacey talking to that jury. That's the thing they wanted. They wanted to hear from Stacey, and they did. And I think that the defense did not touch Reverend Shurey. I think he did a great job, and I think he's the best witness for the state.
Well, when we look back at what the jurors have asked for, the questions that they've had, they asked for Drew Peterson's phone records from the weekend that Kathleen Savio died. They asked for the testimony of the prosecution witness Neil Shorey, the testimony of defense witness Harry Smith, the police report related to Kathleen Savio claiming Drew Peterson held her at knife point in July of 2002, and the letter she wrote to Will County Assistant State's Attorney showing her fear of Drew Peterson. These are the things that they've asked for. I do believe they asked for one other piece of evidence that had to do with the bruises that were on her body. But here's the thing, going into this, a lot of times we were talking about this could come down to medical testimony, because the crux of the defense argument is that this was an accident. But in all of the things that they've asked for, they haven't asked for a lot of that medical testimony, which may be telling in deciding that maybe they don't think this was an accident. What do you read into the things that they have asked for specifically, and the lack of medical evidence that they've asked for or haven't asked for?
Well, yesterday question number 4 did relate to the autopsy pictures and pictures of bruisings and such. So they did ask for that. But obviously the other questions led everyone to believe of a quick conviction. The question today, really makes one think of a hung jury. The small thing could be that they misunderstand unanimous. For example, the state has never really proven how this happened. They might be having something simple. They might all agree that it's a homicide, a murder, but they don't agree how it happened. They may be trying to get from the court, do we all have to agree how it happened, even though we all agree it's a murder? On the other hand, they may be simply saying the obvious too, that we don't agree at all, we can't come to a verdict. They haven't got exactly to the point of a dynamite charge, or you've referred to it as an Allen charge, but a charge where the judge will say, go back and try again. They haven't got to that point yet because they haven't said they're deadlocked. But to me, when I hear the question of unanimous, I'm thinking to myself, hung jury. Now, for the state, who had a tough time in this case, they're probably still pretty happy. For the defense, who thought yesterday it was a quick conviction, they're still pretty happy. So, we're on the position now of thinking, what does that mean if it is a hung jury? That's the bigger question coming up.
Criminal defense attorney Jeff Gold. Jeff, at the end of a trial, if it's a hung jury, as a lot of people on Twitter believe this will turn out to be, we don't know that. We have no indication of that. I just want to, clarify that. But what would you hope to learn from jurors, and how forthright or how candid are they with you after a trial about what did and didn't work in your favor?
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm not so sure it's going to be a hung jury, although I raised that possibility because I just don't think they're so stupid as to not understand what the word unanimous is. And so if they do become a hung jury, I'm going to ask them that if I can. Why were you asking what is unanimous? Isn't that a fairly obvious question? And jurors, that want to speak to you are very honest and do it. I can remember the first jury trial I ever had as a prosecutor in the old days. It was 11-1. And so we focused on the one. That was 11-1 for guilt, and that was somebody we asked questions, and he was happy to answer the questions. In those days, jurors were not quite as protected as they are today, and they left the courthouse, and you could ask them questions without the judges being too concerned. So I'm hopeful that all the jurors will tell us why they did what they did, whether it's a hung jury or a conviction or an acquittal. I know everybody here in the sort of tent city is hoping that too.
Tent City, I love it. All right. Hey, thank you so much to our panel. They're sticking around because we're giving you a